Well, I guess the 2017 Derby season is over for me, and kind of looks like my luck with Camrys is still about the same. This thing here did not run right inside the ring, but I was able to keep it going. It did make me a little slow. I had to keep turning the fuel pump on and off. As you guys can tell, I've already got the cage out. I've already fixed a lot of the damage, but unfortunately, this car is not going to be able to be ran again. There was some big things that went wrong at Brawl, that's for sure, like that being one. Broke the rear spindle, clean off. Didn't damage any of the trailing arms, nothing like that, just broke the spindle right off. Car still runs and drives. It was plagued with a couple problems. It kept wanting to die and sputter inside the ring. Really haven't figured that one out. But did catch on fire, but it was not my fault. It was the rad's fault. The rad and the exhaust manifold are now best friends, and they've melted together because of how good of friends they actually are. I did end up breaking one double that was on the car. We replaced that. My main problem was this driver front corner right here. It got picked on a lot in that Demolition Derby. After the heat, I had to change a strut, and then I just actually changed this strut again. So it went through two driver's side front struts, which is not really a corner that gets picked on a lot, but this corner did. In the heat, I was put into the corner, driver's side out, and this front tire just kept getting picked on and picked on and picked on. We did actually break the axle to this corner, but we were still able to keep going. That was all fixed and went into the consolation. And in the consolation, this happened. Frame straight, frame bends, 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 bumper. So there was quite a bit of front end damage done to this car. And because of that, this car is not actually runnable again. It bent so bad that it actually bent up here on the top of the strut towers. As you can see, the strut tower, it ended up caving in on itself way up there on both sides, which is quite phenomenal. I have not seen one bend up here as of yet, but I guess that is a new weak point that I have found, because once that bends, the upper fender supports actually go. As you can see, this one is now bent up and over top of the bumper. But other than that, this car went really good. The revamped cage that I did and went there, actually the whole speaker deck came into it. As you can see, all the dents and creases across it. It actually ripped through the sheet metal over there. Let's see if I can. There, you see the rip where the cage actually went through the rear sheet metal. So the cage held up really good, and it actually kept all my rear seams from blowing out. Even though they were starting to go, the cage is what helped all this in. As you can see, it's not that bad back here compared to the car we took to Aaron, and compared to the car that we took to Barry. This car's back end held up much better. Now for the back end, it didn't really go in as good as I wanted to, just because of how much this driver's side got hit. As you can tell, my bumper is there when it should be over here. So this whole driver's side got pounded towards passenger side. But it all did come in still quite square, which is nice. And other than that, it's actually quite a shame about this car. This was a very well built car, and it went to a very tough show where it didn't fare as well as I'd hoped it would. I would have really liked to get to finals, but I didn't. So not much more you can do about that. But what we're going to do now is we've already got the cage out. Well, we've got most of the cage out. There's still a couple pieces left, but most of the cage is out. I still have this car running and driving. We still have to take out the shifter. I have to go get my oxygen and acetylene refilled so I can cut the bumper off. I want to save this motor because I have a couple other Toyota Camrys that are not running, and this motor is a very low kilometer, good running motor, so hopefully we can save it to put in some other cars. But the first thing I got to do is get this bumper off, because this is my good bumper. It's actually bent now, which is kind of upsetting, but we're going to basically cut the whole front of this car right off with the torch so that we can get the bumper off. We're going to cut the frame and everything, and we're just going to basically salvage what we can from this car. There's not a lot that we can save, but there's still stuff that is savable. So remember guys, if you're going to go out there and run a pro show, make sure you're prepared to have a pro car, and sometimes it doesn't go the way that you want it to. Sometimes you go out there and the car gets destroyed in 5 minutes flat, which is basically what happened to me. But with a couple little fixes, we are able to drive this car again. It did drive into the shop very rough because of how bad the front end was. But now that the front end's fixed, we're going to be able to drive it out, and we're going to be able to take this car apart in our own time. But other projects to come, I'm going to do a teardown of this car, obviously. I want you guys to watch me cutting it apart to see all this hard work being torn apart. But that's part of the Derby world. Build, crash, fix, repeat. So unfortunately this one's not fixable, but more to come for 2018 season. And we got a couple new demolition derbies that we're going to try to go to next year, and maybe leave a couple derbies that we went to last year off the table for 2018. So if you're got a demolition derby that's relatively close to me that you'd like us to go to next year, maybe leave a comment. Or in the winter months, if you're in a very sunny southern state, let us know. Maybe if it's a stock show, we can bring something. Maybe Florida. No idea. It'd be a nice trip down to the beaches. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.